Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. My name is Rachel Sanders, and on behalf of the Virginia United Methodist Church Board of Communications, we would like to thank you for joining us for our website Best Practices webinar. We're excited to have Sarah Perez with United Methodist Communications joining us today. Sarah is a senior local church services specialist who coaches churches on how to best position themselves in their communities through marketing tools, including website development and procurement of customized promotional items. Her session will cover best practices for many aspects of your website, including using photos for marketing, rules of design, simple auditing of your own website, and examples of good website design. It will also provide pricing and links to have UMCOM build or rebuild your church website. It is our hope that this session will help you learn to view your website as an online visitor and learn how to use it as a marketing tool for your church. During the webinar, if you have a question for our presenter, Sarah, please enter that into the Q&A option on your screen. And we will attempt to answer as many questions as possible during the webinar, depending on the time we have available. But don't worry, if we do not answer your question, you're going to receive a follow-up email to this webinar, and you are welcome to ask it then. Today's webinar will also be recorded, and the slideshow that you see will also be shared to all registered attendees within the next few days. Now, please join me in welcoming Sarah Perez.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here with all of you. Greetings from everyone at UMCOM. And I would like to start with a word of prayer. So if you will bow your heads and join me in a brief prayer. Dear God, thank you for all the blessings you have given us today. I pray that you're with us today as we go over our ministries and how to best serve our communities. Help us learn from each other and help us be there for one another. In your name I pray, amen. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and put on my glasses so you can see what I am going to go over with you guys. All right, can you guys see it? Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Give me one moment. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and start. I'll take it from this view. I'm a little nervous, so if you'll bear with me. Can you see the first slide?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so I'll go over why websites are a main tool. You're one of the most important tools that we use for outreach in our communities. As we all know, our churches are the pillars of communities, and we want to make sure that we portray that in a manner that highlights our assets, that highlights our ministries in a way that makes them very clear to someone who is looking for a new space to worship and someone who is looking for a community to be a part of and grow in faith. So I will share with you examples of websites that we have developed, and why we think they are good examples of practice that share the principles of website building. So if you will go into your laptops or mobile phones and look at Polk City United Methodist Church, you will see that particular website shares very clearly their mission. They share who their audience is, and you can see who their members are. If someone were looking for a church, if someone were looking for a new worship community, they could easily do a search online, and by looking at the landing page, they could find out that they are, and they could see they're very warm, they're very inviting, they're a young and fairly large church within their community, and somebody with a family could visit and get involved fairly quickly with ministries, or with Bible studies, or they could get involved with one of their programs. Another church that we feature, New Day United Methodist Church, it's a different type of church. Their ministry is just as strong. They are a new church start. If you go to that website, you will see that it's an intimate community. Their mission, it's more for people who are looking for a smaller church that's growing and that's serving their local community as well. But they're not necessarily the type of church that may have services for children at this particular time. Not every single one person is looking for the same thing. And we all know that serving our churches. So when you're building your website, when you're getting your outline together for your website, keep in mind, what does your church do that's different from the other churches in your community that will make you stand out as you are highlighting, as you're spotlighting your church to the community at large? And think of the internet, the online community. That's the people at large, your online community. So when is it a good time to go ahead and have a new website developed? Your current website, when you're looking at your current website, could someone, let's say I'm visiting your neighborhood and I want to go to church on Sunday, and I put in your website, could I get basic information from your website? Let's say someone else just moved into your neighborhood and they're trying to get a feel for who you are as a community, a faith community. Could they watch your services online? Could they see who you are as a community of faith by looking at your online services? Could one of your church members send a link of an event that's happening in your church to a friend to invite them to come with them on Sunday or Wednesday night for a Bible study? All those things are important when you're reaching out to new people, when you want them to come to your church. Say Q&A. Yes, Ray, we'll send the slides to you later in a PDF. So yes, so when you're thinking about your website, just think about, does it have the basic information that people who don't know who we are need? And does it have our best front and center? So do you have what makes you the best in your community, what you do best as the pillar of your community, because that's what church is. Without church, so many things would not happen in our communities. Are you highlighting that on your website? All right, so next slide. So you may need a website rebuild if the information we went over before, if you don't have that on your website. You may need a website rebuild if your current design is outdated or if you have too many pages on your website. A lot of times, because we offer so many services to our community, we tend to be very thorough, which can be a great thing one-on-one, but we don't necessarily have to have all of that content published online for viewers to see. Less can be more. We can be succinct, we can get to the point, and we can make it brief, and then we can provide a link to a place where people can go to for more information. Another reason you may need a new website is that you're paying too much to your current web hosting provider. There's no need for that. Okay. When you are building your website, keep in mind that the pictures you use need to be engaging. You should be using pictures that feature your church members in your community, that highlight times in your church that show love, times in the church that are open to the community, where the doors are open, where it shows open hearts, literally, when you have the best opening, the best of your members reaching out to the community so that someone who is looking for a new church feels welcome into your space. And here you can see that we have pictures from different churches that we've worked with throughout the years highlighted. And we also, when you have pictures on your website, you can include general messaging from the United Methodist Church in your pictures. Like here we have VUMC included in the center picture. It's highlighted here. All right. Next slide. And we have some tips for taking good pictures. When you are taking pictures that you're going to be using on your website, you can make sure, use a tripod if you can. That way everything's in balance. Make sure that everybody's eyes are open. Take a lot of shots from different angles. You can have fun with it. You don't have to be serious. And actually, the more fun you have with it, the better it can be, because it can show that you're a welcoming community that will embrace people who are searching for love and are searching for kindness. I have a question here. Yes, it depends. There's a question regarding images. It says, do you suggest organizing multiple pictures on a page like this? So yes, it depends on which page, and I'll go over that momentarily. I'll go over the layout of a page and the design. We again, make sure that everything's centered, that your pictures have a good background, they're not cluttered. You can have different plugins within your page or website pages so you can organize them. And they don't necessarily have to be in this particular, let's see, let me go back here. They don't necessarily have to be in this particular collage. The point of the slide is that you use these type of pictures that are warm, inviting, that show the personality of your church. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll move on to the next slide. Okay. Then also, when you're taking pictures, just make sure that it's basic communication tell folks that you will be taking photos of the group, and make sure that they know. Don't use photos of people that are not aware that their image is not being taken. And show, if you can, show the picture to them and ask them if it's okay. All right, moving on. Attractive page design includes several. Attractive page design includes several ways of developing it. There's several processes in order to develop a nice looking page. The menu has to be organized in a way that makes sense to the person reading it. So the home page tab needs to be first, of course, we know that. We'd like to have the About Us page or the About Us tab at the top next to it. After that, it would make sense to have a tab that describes your staff, if you have staff in your church, if it's a larger church. If not, you can have a contact us page. You can have additional information on the ministries that you offer your community. We encourage you to use consistent fonts and color throughout the website. That way it continues the same flow throughout, and it's not confusing to the viewer. It maintains your brand throughout. It's also important that you keep in mind elements that can be that need to be included, so it's accessible to everyone. And I've included a link here that you will receive after the training for to ensure that you have content that it's available to all, and people with disabilities have access to it and have access to your website, and you can maintain access to a diverse audience. Again, make sure that your design is consistent, and your links, hyperlinks, make sure they work. And when you link them, you can open them in a new tab, and when somebody clicks on the tab, it will open it in a new page and it won't kick them out from your website. When you are telling your story, we want to make sure that people listen. And we do that by using clear and succinct language. We want to share what sets you apart from the church down the street. We want to use language that is clear. We want to use language and content, copy for your website that highlights, that features your best ministries, that features what you're the best at in your community, the ministries that have volunteers joining you. How long have you been serving your community? If you've been there from the very beginning, you don't necessarily have to write an entire page of history. You can simply say that you've been a member, you've been an original member of the community and have been part of the growth of your community, and you continue to be a faithful companion to your neighbors and are open to changes and are open to serving your community. Being at a part of a community for a long time can be an asset when you are inviting new people in, because you have history. You just don't necessarily want to bore, if you will, new people with an entire page of history. You can keep that for members that are very proud of their history, and maybe just keep it in a library, in your church library. You can keep your logs on all of that. But on your website, it's better to be clear and succinct. That way, people normally, when they're looking at your pages, they're only there for a few seconds. If they have to read a lot, they're gonna jump out and move on to the next thing. So great pictures, short copy, brief copy that's brief and clear and has who, what, when, and where on it is what you want on your website. And of course, what sets you apart from the church down the street? What makes you the place where someone will want to come in on Sunday? What makes you the church that people would want to bring their kids to? What makes you the church that someone will want to come to for a Bible study? That's what you need to feature on your website. Okay, hyperlinks and community partners. If and this works if you're a new church or if you've been around for a few years. If you have partnerships in your community, you can highlight their links on your website. Let's say you do an event with the United Way. You can have a link to the United Way on your website, and you can ask them to link you on their website. That way you get traffic going both ways and people can find you from their website to you. If you have an event on your church, at your church, that folks from the United Way or people from the Red Cross are going to participate, have them listed on their website. That way, people that are going to come in on Saturday to give blood, maybe they've never been to church. And let's say you have a blood drive on Saturday, and you have it's at your church at the parking lot, and you have you have everything that you're welcoming new people. If somebody sees a link from their website to yours, that spreads the message that you're helping your community, and it might make people interested in visiting you on Sunday. Okay, reminders: check and update your website frequently. Sometimes websites get outdated, and that's a big no. Always look at your website through the eyes of someone who is looking for a new church. And that can be hard to do if you're the person who's the website manager. You know, if you want to have your daughter or your son look at it and give you honest feedback, and try not to be open to what they say, or have a neighbor that's never been to church, show them your website and ask them, what would they come to your church based on what they see. All right, before you publish content, look at your desktop, look at the website from your desktop, look at it from a tablet, and look at it from a cell phone. Most people are going to be looking at your website from a cell phone. So if your design and content doesn't align properly, if it doesn't upload properly on your cell phone, more than likely people are not going to read it. So you want to make sure that whatever content you add on your website, you want to make sure that it translates to a cell phone in a manner that it's attractive to the viewer. Okay, to place an order for a 5-page website build from United Methodist Communications, you'd go to umcchurches.org. I believe some churches might be interested in the 5-page website build, and that covers a home, an about us page, ministries page, a contact us page, and a calendar. And the basic build is $199.99, and you can place the order through there. And again, back to the reminders: check your website, update it regularly, look through it through the eyes of someone who's looking for a new church, and look at your website on your desktop, on a tablet, and on a cell phone, and do it regularly. It's information changes quickly. So I thank you for your time, and we're not open for questions. Should I stop sharing?
Yes, you could stop sharing, and then if you can see some of the Q&A that's in there now, and we can open it up to additional
Okay.
Q&A
Let's see.
at the top.
Yes, I agree. You may need to get yep. A comment from Judy. You may need to get written approval to add that hyperlink work for the Red Cross, and I think that may be the case. Not for an event, because for an event, if it's open to the public, you can add it. But it's always a good, let's see here, stop share. It's always good practice to reach out to your community. It's always good practice to reach out to your community providers. You want to make friends and you want to invite people to church, so that's great. We need updating.
A lot of people want to see the prices you had for the
Oh,
website.
yeah, sure. Okay. The basic is $199.99. If you go to umcchurches.org, it's right there on the landing page. Let's see, slide to page 12. Hold on one moment. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, we can see that.
Great.
And I can share the landing page with the pricing if that's of interest to folks too.
Yeah. Another link to keep in mind, I'll share this one with you guys. It's outreach.com. We have a partnership with them. And in here, we have pictures that can be downloaded for online use. You can use them on your social media. You can use them on your Facebook if you have Instagram. Just come in here, outreach.com, Partners, United Methodist. The link is right here. And I'll send it with the other information. That way you can download it and use it throughout the year. Also keep in mind that you can take pictures throughout the year and keep them in a folder. And if you use the liturgical calendar, you can use different themes and just have them be like by different seasons. So you don't have to take all your pictures at once and post them at once.
Sarah, I see
Yeah.
a lot of questions about the pricing stuff. And as someone who's used your services, you redesigned our page last summer. I want to say it mentions 5 pages, but she also teaches you how to maintain it. And you can add as many pages as you need to after that. It's just an initial setup of 5.
Right. Let me pull up that umcchurches.org and just go over it with you guys. Okay.
And I would also say the cost of having you do that and host it was cheaper than we were already paying just to host the site before.
Thank you for that, Bill. Thank you so much. You guys were great to work with. Do you see umcchurches.org?
You'll
It's
have
still
to-
showing your PowerPoint.
You'll have to stop sharing the PowerPoint and then go back to share screen and then grab your web page.
Do you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see here. So for the 5-page website build, it's $199.99 for the website. And that includes the silver level here. You'll see you have the domain, you get a free domain, you get the 5 pages, 5 email accounts, and then 2 hours of coaching. And that also includes the online training. And then you can also do a website redesign, and that's for the same price. You can replace your existing website, and it's pretty much the same information, but we would rebuild what you have. Keeping in mind, though, that if you were to rebuild your website, if you were transferring your domain, part pardon me, it takes time to transfer the domain. It could be anywhere from a week to a couple weeks. If it's a new domain, let's say if you buy a new domain and you're transferring it from your current provider, it can take up to 60 days. But normally it's about a week. If you have content that you want to keep, you can do that if it's a WordPress site. But there's work on the back end that needs to happen before that can be transferred. So here you can see what both packages include. And then you would go in to umcchurches.org. If you don't have an account, you can sign up for an account and place your order. And then it would come into one of our specialists. I'm one of the specialists. And we would go through what you have. We normally go in, review your website presence, have a one-on-one conversation with you to let you know what we find when we're there. And then we get your feedback on what you think your current challenges are with your current website, if you have one. And if you don't, we can share with you what the challenges are, why you don't have one. And then we can then go in and do your basic 5 pages and then send it to you for feedback. And after that, we can go live.
Can you talk a little bit, Sarah, about hosting and fees associated with that? A lot of folks are asking about ongoing charges, and that's where you really get into the ongoing fees is with
Right,
hosting.
right. Normally it's around, let's see here. This is what I'll do. Normally it's around $61 for a year. Then that includes the web hosting and domain. I will get pricing for you guys from that department, and I'll give it to you so you can share it with everyone on the call. How's that?
That sounds good. I can put that in my follow-up email.
Great. And I say that the pricing of the domain can change a little bit depending on what your domain is. It's not a standard pricing. The hosting is around $51 to $55 a year. But then when you add the domain renewal fees, that's when it fluctuates a little bit.
We're also having some folks ask about having their church logos designed by UMCOM.
You can apply for, let's see here. You have to apply for UMC. What I'll do is I will send you the link to apply for a grant. That's part of the resources that we offer to the church. And then, yes, after the call, I'll send you the link to that. It's an application process. You have to go in and submit an application, and then we send that, we connect you with a specialist, and we share that information with you.
Is a logo also something they could just pay for if they don't need to go through a grant process for that?
Absolutely. There's a fee for logo development. That is correct.
Okay, great.
And you would be connected with a specialist.
And then a grant could be used for website design.
Well, no, the grant, there's not a grant for website design.
Okay.
The website, there's a fee for the website development.
Right. And then what all could the grant be used for?
The grants are for new church starts, and they're for promotional items. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and if somebody else will pick it up, that would be great. And I'll find out the link for, let's see. For churches here. Okay, so
I think the grant that they were talking about earlier might have been a Virginia grant, not a UMCOM.
okay, so
Rachel.
If you go to resourceumcchurches.org, and I'll put it in the chat.
We actually don't have like an open chat on our
Oh, you
end,
don't?
but
Okay.
it's something as well you could send us. And it's related to the grant.
Well, it's not, let's see here. Okay, so let me go over what my section does. We are with the local church services with the marketing department, and what we normally do is we offer, like you asked for branding for church logos, and you would go in through the website here, applied for the grant, and then you would get connected with our designer, and then he would share with you if it's a brand standard logo, meaning if it's just a cross and flame, I don't think there's a fee for it. If you need something that's more intricate, that's when the fee would kick in. But then again, he would share that with you. Your social media services, we also have someone on staff that can help you. He can give you an audit of your current online media services, and they can go over it with you. He can go over it with you and just audit them and give you feedback on that. Website services is what I just went over with you guys. You would go under umcchurches.org and place the order for your website build. And then New Church Start Packages is one of the other services we offer, and that's for churches like the second website that I was going over in the beginning of the training, New Day, the New Day United Methodist Church. They're a new church start. So they are also in the process of getting a promotional package to get their messaging out to the community at large, along with their website. And then we've had the local church learning sessions, which are similar to the sessions we're having right now,
Thanks. And we can certainly include a link to this in our follow-up email.
Cheryl, we're using. Okay. Any other questions? And as you can tell, this is my first time doing this, so thank you for bearing with me. I normally I'll do one-on-one Zoom trainings, not larger ones. So
It
Someone-
does. Sorry, go ahead, Julie.
Okay, we do have 3 questions in the Q&A right now. So
Okay.
Kim Johnson was wondering how, which order you design in. Is it the computer first and then responsive to the phone, or do you do phone first and then responsive to computer?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question. We normally when the order is placed, and it's processed, we talk to the client, get their feedback. It's a Divi template that's based on WordPress, and then we go in, upload a template, and add pictures to it, and then add the content that's provided by the client. So it's very much one-on-one with the client, and a process of doing it. It's a person doing it. I'm doing it. It's not the phone. Is that?
I think what she's asking is, in your design process, are you designing that website in mind to know that will also look optimized on a phone if a visitor is visiting that site and they're looking at it on their phone?
That is part of the template of the Divi theme. It's the settings are set so when somebody looks at it, they're automatically preset, so so they stack in an appropriate manner. But that's why we also like to preview them before we make them go live, because at times if we are updating things, we could hit a button, or we could tweak things and throw the design off. So that's why we always recommend that we review things prior to publishing them from all mediums, from like a desktop and a phone.
You said you use a WordPress Divi theme.
The Divi thing, yes, that is correct.
What? How do you spell that? Somebody was asking.
DIVI.
DIVI.
Mhm.
Got it. Thank you.
We have a question in regards to updates to, they're using your service right now.
Uh-huh.
And they're wanting to know if any updates have been made to the events calendar section.
Right, well, I'm assuming the client is wondering about recurrent events, right?
Yes.
Right. I recommend a different plugin. I use the Events Manager because it's easier for that purpose. The events, or we also recommend that you set up a Google Calendar, and then you can add that as a link to your website, and then you can update it on the back end and share it with the public. So either the Events Manager or Google Calendar are a good workaround the events, the current plugin that she has.
Hey, can you just talk briefly, Sarah, about the training that you all provide once you make a website for somebody to teach them how to update it themselves?
Absolutely. We have several options. After the client reviews the website and they're happy with it, we give the client two options. We can do a 2-hour training, or we can do a 1-hour training and then offer a follow-up training. And it's one-on-one. We do it via Zoom. We can do it as a group. We can do it with 2 people. I normally do mine one-on-one. Sometimes I do it with 2 people. And then when the training is over, we record the session, send the link to the session to the client. It's sent via WeTransfer, and the client can keep the recording and share it with everyone else. Anyone else who's handling the website. We don't recommend that you share your username and password with a bunch of folks, but anyone who's an admin can have access to your website. So yeah, and then after that, any questions that you have after your training, we remain on staff to help you with that.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
We have another question, Rachel, and Sarah. When you build up website, what is the basic size of the domain?
We'd like to, how many letters, how many characters? Is that the question?
I'm guessing here, I would say yes, like maybe the length, like you're saying. How
Well,
many years?
there's not we try to keep it as short as possible and as brief as possible. You can always go to GoDaddy and research them. We like for it to be something people can remember. And if it's listed on like a billboard, or if you have it on a pin as you're giving out items, it should be, it should have enough characters where it fits on a pen, but not so many that it's just gonna run off.
Okay, I think they were wondering about the storage actually. They
okay.
added their clarification for all the data.
Oh,
Thanks,
oh
Julie.
well, yes. Okay, but no, that's a valid point on your domain name. You wanted to, if you're purchasing a new website, you need to be very mindful of the name that you're using, and you want it to be consistent. If you have something on Facebook, it needs to be consistent on your website as well. You don't want to have 2 different names and confuse a potential visitor. Your branding will be completely off.
Is there a standard size for your hosting, for the hosting package?
Yep, right here. If you will go back to umcchurches.org, let's see here. Gives you, should be on here. 5 gigabytes of storage.
Got it.
Sarah, do you offer, we do have a question about pictures, but I wanted to ask real quick. After you design a site, you do the training. If that church needs some support down the road, sometimes you have something goes haywire with your site or a plugin, that type of thing, and you need some additional support. What's the process for that?
We, again, with the basic build, we provide support after the build, but then if like a year goes by, then you have to buy additional services, and you can go under umcchurches.org, this website here. And then if you need an additional hour of coaching, it's $24.99. An additional page layout, $24.99.
Do you offer technical support? Like if
We do
something
have,
happens to that site and they need
right,
something
we do
fixed?
have technical support, and what we encourage people is, see where it says support here. Once you're logged in, you can place your ticket here and go through the process, and they're great. They follow up with you and they'll take care of it.
Thank you.
And someone was interested, Ken Ferrer was interested in knowing about if it includes analytics. He wants to know, are usage stats for the websites provided when they go through, I'm guessing, your basic services?
It is not included in that package, but it's something that you can easily turn on through the plugins.
We also have someone asking about what size pictures work the best for inclusion on a website. Do you have sort of standards that you ask of your clients?
I can send you that on the follow-up email.
But usually on our end, high resolution
Absolutely,
pictures of
yeah,
good quality are what you want on your site.
Right. That's understood. That's industry standard.
Yeah.
Sarah, could you speak a little bit about how you optimize based on mission insight?
Right. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. So, like, again, when I was sharing on my presentation earlier, we meet with the client first and have a conversation on their current challenges. One of the services we offer after the first meeting is we run a mission insight report, and the mission insight report gives background on the statistics of your community, who lives there, around how much they make, what messaging would be attractive to them, and then we share that with you, and then we give you feedback on what we think would be good presentation of your services, if you will, and include that in your website. So we include that as a tool while we're building your website, and we use that as a tool, and we share it with our clients so they know what they have, what communities surround them.
It does look like our questions may have come to a close here. If you wanted to stop sharing your screen, unless you had some other things you'd like to show us.
No, I think if you will go to outreach and make sure you use the photos that are there for you guys. It's really simple. Just sign up for an account and then just select the different pictures that you want to use. It helps me a great deal when I'm building websites. You can just download them and use them. And yeah, it's an awesome tool. And then the other information we went over, I'll be happy to share. And then, yeah, that's it. I thank you for your time.
We did have somebody ask, in your slide deck, you had Polk City, UMC at the beginning. is their website an example of a basic build package that you guys have done?
Yeah, let me pull one up right now, that I worked on recently. Here's one. I just did this one a couple weeks, about a month ago. So here is Open Hearts United Methodist Church, and they're a new church. They're not a new church. They went through the split, and this is a community that's State United Methodist, and they want to make sure that people know we're still here. You know, we're here. If I know we're all grieving, but you're welcome to come stay with us and be part of our community. So you can see who they are, and then here's a slider. You get a sense for who they are as a community, and then it's got their basic info here, how to connect with them, their service, online service here, how to give. They also, this is a great church. They have like a school, and they need to have that information here. So people are aware that they have specific protocols to follow when they visit, because there's school in the building. And then you go to their About Us page. And then your footer, this section here remains the same throughout. And then here, they have their different ministries. And then we do the basic build, and then you add on, if you have additional pages, they added on the rest of these right here. And then they have your events. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for showing us that.
You're so welcome.
And it does look like we're good. I don't see any additional questions out there. If you want to stop sharing your screen, and we can do a closing. And thank you, Sarah, very much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Appreciate you guys.
I feel like that was really helpful to a lot of folks to just dig into some of the services that you are able to provide to them.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming. So thanks again for attending our website best practices webinar. We were very grateful to have Sarah Perez here with us today from United Methodist Communications. All of the attendees, as we stated, will receive a follow-up email within a week sharing a link to view this webinar. You'll also receive the slides that you saw, and also lots of links that we all touched on. I will try to pull together as many of those in this email as possible. You'll also receive a CEU certificate and a short survey to just share your feedback with our team. It helps us in planning future webinars for the conference as well. But thanks again for participating. We really hope that you found some useful advice today that you can use to better your church communications. And at this time, we would like Reverend Bill McClung to close us in prayer.
Let us be in an attitude of prayer. Holy God, as the new means of technology for evangelism may seem overwhelming at times, we thank you for the opportunity to gather, to learn, to see these as tools of sharing your story and our church's story, as doorways through which we can help connect the outside world to our local church. Thank you for all those who took time to participate today. Thank you for Sarah and her ministry helping our churches on behalf of United Methodist Communication. For all of this, we give you thanks for your continued journey with us in the life of faith as we seek to glorify you all that we do. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon.